Hey everyone, so this is the iPad mini 7. It came out way back in October of 2024, and I've been using this one personally since about April 2025. And that begs the question, almost a year later, since its release, how does this iPad hold up? This is my blue model, and as you can see, it's in pretty great shape. I use it mostly for Netflix, YouTube, a bit of reading. I also push it pretty hard with gaming, and even some light work with Google Docs and Sheets. And today we're gonna talk into all of it. In this video, we're going to cover everything. We'll start with what made this iPad so special at launch. Then we'll get into the design, and that screen, yes, we will talk about the jelly scroll issue. After that, we'll look at performance both day-to-day and for serious gaming. We'll check out the battery life, the cameras, and then spend some real time on the software because this is running the latest iPadOS 26 Beta 9, and it completely changes the game. We'll touch on Apple Intelligence, cover the downsides you need to know, and finally, I'll give you my honest verdict on who this is for in 2025. So if you're thinking of buying one or maybe upgrading from one, you're gonna want to stick around. So let's rewind a bit. When this thing first dropped, the big deal was the chip. Apple took the A17 Pro, the same powerhouse from the iPhone 15 Pro, and squeezed it into their smallest iPad. This was huge because it meant the Mini wasn't just a small cute tablet anymore. It was a pocket-sized beast. The promise was pro-level performance for gaming, support for the then new Apple Pencil Pro, and crucially, it was the most affordable way to get a device with Apple Intelligence. It also started at 128GB of storage, which was a welcome upgrade from the old 64GB base model. This combination of power and portability was its unique selling point, and it's what made it so interesting from the get-go. But even from day one, we knew there were trade-offs. This wasn't an iPad Pro mini. The biggest one, and we'll get into this more, was the screen. It's still a LCD, not an OLED. The display is just a 60Hz panel, not the super smooth 120Hz ProMotion you get on the Pro models. The front camera was still stuck on the short side, which is awkward for video calls in landscape, and of course there was the ghost of the iPad mini 6, the infamous jelly scroll. These weren't accidents, they were deliberate choices by Apple to keep the mini in its specific place in the lineup. Powerful, but not so capable that it would step on the toes of the more expensive iPad Air or Pro. The question is, are those compromises still acceptable a year later? Okay, let's talk about the design. Physically, it's identical to the Mini 6, which honestly is fine. It's this beautiful 100% recycled aluminum body. I've got the blue one here, and it just feels premium. But the real magic of the Mini isn't just how it looks, it's how it feels to use. It weighs next to nothing, just under 300 grams. For long sessions, whether I'm watching a movie, reading an article, or deep into a gaming session, this form factor is just unbeatable. It's not too big, not too small. You can hold it for hours without your wrist getting tired. It's the reason people love the Mini, and that hasn't changed one bit. The screen itself is an 8.3-inch liquid retina display, and for what it is, it's great. Colors are vibrant. Text is super sharp thanks to the high pixel density of 326 ppi, and it's fully laminated with an anti-reflective coating, so the content feels like it's right on top of the glass. For watching Netflix or YouTube, it's a fantastic little screen, but it's a 60Hz display. And in 2025, that's something you really notice, especially if you're coming from a ProMotion iPhone or another high refresh rate device. Scrolling just doesn't have that buttery smoothness. For many people, this is the #1 reason they might hesitate. For me, it's noticeable, but it's not a deal breaker for what I use this for, which is mostly media and gaming. But you have to know it's a compromise. And that brings us to Jelly Scroll, that weird wobble effect when scrolling in portrait mode. On the Mini 6, it was a huge deal. On the Mini 7, well, the consensus is it's complicated. Some reviewers say it's completely gone, others say it's still there but much improved. Apple apparently used an optimized display controller to help mitigate the issue. Personally, if I really look for it, I can maybe see a tiny hint of it. But in my normal everyday use, I don't notice it at all. It's a massive improvement over the last generation, and for me, it's a non-issue. It seems Apple didn't make the screen perfect, but they made it good enough that for most people, the biggest problem with the last Mini is now effectively gone. With that A17 Pro chip and 8GB of RAM, this thing is still an absolute speed demon for daily tasks. Apps open instantly, swiping between them is incredibly smooth, and I've never once felt it lag or stutter, no matter what I'm doing. And I actually ran the numbers to back this up. In Geekbench 6, I got a single core score of 2,916 and a multi-core score of 7,166. For a tablet this small, Those are just fantastic numbers. Even a year after launch, it absolutely holds its own. But where this performance really shines is with the new iPadOS 26. The new multitasking system with its flexible windowing is a game changer. I was skeptical about how useful it would be on an 8.3-inch screen, but it's surprisingly great. I can have a Google Doc open next to Safari or a game running in one window while I quickly check Discord in another. It makes the Mini feel more like a tiny, capable computer than ever before. For me though, the ultimate test is gaming. And this is where the Mini 7 really punches above its weight. For games like PUBG Mobile, it's flawless. High settings, smooth frame rates, no problem. But what about the really demanding stuff, the console level AAA games? I've spent a good amount of time playing Assassin's Creed Mirage on here, and it's genuinely impressive. The game is absolutely playable on high settings. The graphics look stunning on this little screen. It's wild to be playing a full-blown Assassin's Creed game on a device you can hold in one hand. Now, it's not perfect. When you push it this hard with a game like Mirage for a long time, it does get warm. Not uncomfortably hot, but you can feel the A17 Pro working hard. I haven't noticed any major performance throttling, but it's something to be aware of. This is a passively cooled device after all. The Mini 7 has carved out a niche as the pinnacle of casual, high-fidelity gaming. Perfect for impressive bursts of play, but maybe not for sustained marathon sessions. Let's talk battery life. This is always a big question with a small device. My unit here is from April 2025. It's got 67 charge cycles, and the battery health is still at a perfect 100%. That's a good sign for longevity. In terms of actual usage, Apple advertises about 10 hours, and I'd say that's pretty accurate for light stuff like watching video or browsing the web. On a typical day of mixed use, I easily get through the day without thinking about a charger. If I'm just reading, it can last for days. But if you're gaming hard, you need to be realistic. Those AAA titles will drain the battery much faster. Expect more in the range of 3 to 4 hours of continuous intense gameplay before you need to plug in. It's the price you pay for this much power in this small hour package. Okay, the cameras. I'm gonna be quick here. They're fine, but they're not the reason you buy an iPad mini. The 12 megapixel camera on the back is perfectly capable for scanning a document or taking a quick reference photo. The quality is decent, but your phone is almost certainly better. The 12 megapixel ultra-wide front camera is what you'll use for video calls. The quality is okay for FaceTime or Zoom, and it has center stage, which is nice. But, and this is a big but for some, it's still located on the short edge. So if you're holding the iPad in landscape mode for a call, you're always looking off to the side. It's a bit awkward, and it's a shame Apple didn't move it to the long edge like they have on other iPads. This really signals that Apple still sees the Mini as a personal portrait-first device, even as the software becomes more productivity focused. Alright, now for what I think is the most exciting part of using this iPad in 2025, the software. I'm running the iPadOS 26 Beta 9 and I cannot overstate how much of an upgrade this is. It makes older versions like even iPadOS 18 feel ancient. The first thing you notice is the new design, which Apple calls liquid glass. It's this beautiful translucent glassy effect on everything from app icons to menus. It sounds like a gimmick, but it genuinely makes the whole OS feel more alive and modern. The animations are smoother, everything feels more fluid, and it just looks incredible on this display. But the biggest change is the new windowing system. It's basically a light version of what you get on a Mac. You can freely resize and overlap windows. On the mini screen, you can comfortably work with 2 or even 3 apps at once. This has fundamentally changed how I use the Mini for light work. It's no longer just a single tasking device. It's worth noting though that some people miss the old, simpler system, especially the slide over feature, which is gone now. For me, the trade-off is worth it, but it's a change you'll have to get used to. Now, the A17 Pro chip means this iPad supports Apple Intelligence, and that's great for future-proofing. You get the new Siri, writing tools, and all that. But I have to be honest with you. For me, right now in 2025, it's not a deal breaker. Apple Intelligence is still very much in its early days. You know, it feels like a beta for any serious AI tasks. I find myself just opening up ChatGPT or Gemini, which are still way more powerful and versatile. So is it cool that the Mini has Apple Intelligence? Yes. Is it the reason you should buy one today? For me, not yet. So after almost a year, here's the bottom line. The pros, its performance is still fantastic thanks to the A17 Pro, making it an incredible gaming device. The form factor is unmatched for portability and comfort, and with iPadOS 26, it's more capable than ever before. The cons, the 60Hz screen is a real compromise in 2025, the cameras are just okay, and the front camera placement is annoying for landscape calls. So who is this for? For the potential buyer, if you're thinking about buying an iPad mini 7 today, here's my advice. If you want the most powerful portable tablet for entertainment, reading, and gaming, there is still nothing else like it. It's a specialized device, but it's the absolute best at what it does. For the current user, if you already own one, you should be feeling pretty good. iPadOS 26 has given this device a whole new lease on life. It feels faster, looks better, and is way more functional. There's no compelling reason to upgrade unless you're finding the screen is just too small for your needs. For the upgrader. And if you're a mini user who's confused about whether to upgrade to a bigger iPad like the Air, it really comes down to one thing: how much do you value this specific size? If you value carrying it everywhere, pick the mini. If you need it to double as a laptop, the Air is the clear winner. The choice isn't about which one is better, it's about choosing between maximum portability and a better desktop style experience. For me, the iPad mini 7 has earned its place. It's my go-to device for relaxing and for gaming on the go. It doesn't try to be a laptop, and with iPadOS 26, it has become the best version of itself. A tiny, ridiculously powerful tablet that is just a joy to use. But I'd love to know what you all think. Are you still using an iPad mini 7? Are you thinking of buying one? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.